Operation Puerto is the code name of a Spanish police operation against the doping network of Doctor Eufemiano Fuentes, started in May 2006, which resulted in a scandal that involved several of the world's most famous cyclists at the time. Media attention has focused on the small number of professional road cyclists named. However, sportspeople from other disciplines including football and tennis have also been connected with the scandal. 15 had been acquitted by May 2007, while 3 had admitted doping or evidence of blood doping was found. Timeline. Revelations by Jesus Manzano. In March 2004, in an interview with the Spanish newspaper Diario AS, Jesus Manzano exposed systematic doping in his former cycling team, Calme. He detailed blood doping as well as the performance-enhancing drugs he used while on the team. The investigation and the allegations he made led to questioning of several members of the team in April 2004. These included Eufemiano Fuentes, who was the Calme team doctor, Walter Veru, the doctor before Fuentes, and Alfredo Cordova, who was working for Liberty Seguros Worth but involved with Calme in 2003. An investigation began into the practices of Fuentes in early 2006 by the anti-drug trafficking arm of the Spanish Guardia Civil. Police action. On 23 May 2006, Spanish Guardia Civil arrested the director sportif of the Liberty Seguros Worth team, Manolo Size, and 4 others including Fuentes, accused of doping practices with riders. Spanish police raided residences. In one belonging to Fuentes, they found 1,000 doses of anabolic steroids, 100 packets of blood products, and machines to manipulate and transfuse them. The Guardia Civil found a list naming other cyclists involved. Liberty Seguros withdrew the sponsorship, which left Worth as sole sponsor. Suspensions. As more names leaked to the press, T-Mobile team asked riders to sign a statement that they had never worked with Fuentes, while the Phonak team suspended Santiago Botero and José Enrique Gutiérrez, who had finished second in the 2006 Giro d'Italia. Tour de France organizers ASO considered withdrawing invitations to Worth and Comunidad Valenciana. On 1 June, the director of Valenciana, José Ignacio Labarta, resigned. Worth found a new sponsor. 5 Kazakh companies united under the name of the capital, Astana, and became Astana Worth. ASO withdrew Comunitat Valenciana's invitation, moving riders to send blood samples to be analyzed to prove their innocence. The Vuelta a España considered expelling the team. After El País published details of Operación Puerto, Spanish riders boycotted the Spanish National Road Race Championships, which was cancelled after 500 meters. ASO wrote asking Astana Worth not to take part in the Tour de France, which the team ignored. Jan Ulrich, linked to Fuentes by the newspaper, threatened to sue El País. The Court of Arbitration for Sport said Astana Worth were to be accepted in the Tour. The Spanish authorities lifted the secret of summary 2 days before the start of the 2006 Tour, formally involving all 56 riders found in Fuentes' lists. Because Ulrich and Oscar Sevilla were in the list, T-Mobile suspended them. The example was followed by Ivan Basso's team CSC in Francisco Mancebo's AG2R Prévoyance. ASO demanded all riders involved be withdrawn by the teams, even though Astana Worth had received the support of the CAS. The day before the Tour, Astana Worth yielded to pressure. 5 of the riders had been excluded by ASO for involvement in the scandal, leaving only 4 of the 6 riders required. Francisco Mancebo, 4th the previous year and involved in the case, ended his career, according to his director sportif Vincent Lavenu. As a result, none of the riders who finished in the top 5 of the 2005 Tour de France started in the 2006 edition. On the 3rd of July, Worth also withdrew sponsorship of the Astana team. They had planned sponsorship only if it were not excluded from a race. 6 days later, T-Mobile fired Rudy Pevenage, directeur sportif, because he was also involved. On the 21st of July, the team suspended Ulrich and Sevilla, effectively sacking them. On the same day, Spanish cycling newspaper Meta 2 listed codenames used by Fuentes which had not been deciphered by police. Additional leaks. In November 2006, El Mundo claimed that an anti-doping laboratory in Barcelona which analyzed 99 bags of blood plasma seized in Operation Puerto found high levels of erythropoietin. This suggested athletes working with Fuentes had been boosting the performance in ways other than blood doping. El Mundo suggested those implicated had delegated the cheating to Fuentes, and would not have been able to control the level of EPO they were taking. After studying the Barcelona Labs report, El Mundo described Fuentes' program as, riders would visit Fuentes a few weeks before a race and have blood removed. Fuentes would run the blood through a centrifuge, separating the blood plasma from the red blood cells. The cells would be re-injected shortly before competition, boosting resistance to fatigue. If hematocrit levels got dangerously high, they would re-inject plasma as well, enhanced with EPO, to dilute the red blood cells and avoid detection. The Barcelona lab did not identify any athlete responsible for any of the 99 tested bags of blood. Legal repercussions. On the 26th of July 2006, 5 Astana riders were cleared by Spanish courts. The 5, José Barbalocchi, Isidro Nozal, Sergio Paulinho, Alan Davis and Alberto Contador, received a document clearing them of links to Operación Puerto, the Spanish newspaper El Diario Vasco reported. On the 8th of October, the Madrid court in charge of the case told the Spanish Cycling Federation, the Real Federación Española de Ciclismo, that court documents could not be used in the federation's investigations. On the 13th of October, Ivan Basso was cleared by Italian authorities due to lack of evidence. Ulrich was cleared by the Spanish courts on the 25th of October. The judge ruled that Ulrich and Basso were put under investigation without proof of involvement. On the 28th of October, the RFEC closed disciplinary files against cyclists in the investigation. However, the RFEC will initiate disciplinary investigations on Manolo sides. UCI President Pat McQuaid was reported to feel let down by authorities in Spain. He hoped teams would require cyclists to submit DNA samples to clear their names. The investigations into Spanish riders were suspended. On the 7th of March 2007, the case was dropped through lack of evidence of crime, admissions and evidence of doping. On the 3rd of April 2007, the German news agency SID said 9 bags of blood marked Jan number 1 Oriho Rudzio matched Jan Ulrich's saliva DNA. On the 7th of May, Basso admitted involvement with the scandal to the Italian National Olympic Committee. On the 9th of May, Michele Scarponi admitted he was Zapatero in Fuentes' files. And on the 30th of June, Jurg Jaccia admitted he was Bella. Trial. In January 2013, the Operación Puerto trial went underway, and Eufemiano Fuentes offered to reveal the names of all the athletes who were his clients. Julia Santamaria, the judge presiding the trial, told Fuentes that he was not under obligations to name any athlete other than the cyclists implicated. Fuentes stated that he supplied athletes in other sports with drugs and said, "I could identify all the samples. If you give me a list I could tell you who corresponds to each code on the packs." On the 30th of April 2013, Fuentes was found guilty and given a 1-year suspended prison sentence. The judge also ruled on a request to hand over blood bags to the Spanish anti-doping agency. The judge ordered the blood bags destroyed, but the anti-doping agency has appealed. Additional appeals were filed by the Union Cyclista Internazionale, the Italian National Olympic Committee and the World Anti-Doping Agency, as well as by the prosecution. On the 14th of June 2016, the original verdict against Fuentes was overruled and he was cleared of all charges. However, 211 blood bags from his laboratory are set to be handed over to anti-doping authorities for investigation. List of athletes named. According to the Guardia Civil, the following athletes have been named. Cyclists team Astana Worth Alberto Contador, removed from the case by Spanish courts. Alan Davis, removed from the case by Spanish courts. Investigation closed by the Australian Sports Anti-Doping Authority. Jose Balbalocchi, removed from the case by Spanish courts. David Echevarria. Isidro Nozal, removed from the case by Spanish courts. Unai Osa. Sergio Paulinho, removed from the case by Spanish courts. Michel Scarponi, admitted he is Zapatero in Fuentes files. Scarponi was suspended on 16 May 2007. Marcos Serrano, Angel Vicioso, Comunidad Valenciana Vicente Ballester, removed from the case by Spanish courts. David Bernabeu, removed from the case by Spanish courts. David Blanco, removed from the case by Spanish courts. José Adrián Bernier, removed from the case by Spanish courts. Juan Gómez, removed from the case by Spanish courts. Eladio Jimenez, removed from the case by Spanish courts. David Latassa, removed from the case by Spanish courts. Javier Pascual Rodriguez, removed from the case by Spanish courts. Ruben Plaza, removed from the case by Spanish courts. Others. AG2R Prevoyance Francisca Mancibo, initially retired from cycling, but having severed ties with AG2R, joined Spanish professional continental team Relax Gam. In 2009 he raced with USA-based Rock Racing. Esteban Elis Balias Constantino Zabala. Alejandro Valverde, the source of blood marked VALV. Valverde was suspended from racing in Italy from May 2009, and in May 2010 a 2-year suspension, backdated to 1 January 2010, was applied. Team CSC Ivan Basso. Basso's contract with CSC was terminated by mutual agreement on 18 October 2006. On 27 October 2006 the case was dropped by the Federazione Ciclistica Italiana due to lack of evidence, and he was then employed in December 2006 by Discovery Channel. On 24 April 2007 Basso was suspended by Discovery Channel when the Italian National Olympic Committee reopened his case. On 1 May 2007 Basso requested to be released from his Discovery Channel contract. This was granted. Basso attended a hearing on 2 May, and on 7 May 2007, admitted that he was Birillo. Basso was suspended on 16 May 2007. Frank Schleck admitted transferring nearly €7,000 to a bank account held by Dr. Fuentes, but denied any doping or personal contact with Fuentes. Phonak Hearing Systems José Ignacio Gutierrez, José Enrique Gutierrez, Santiago Botero, case dropped by disciplinary committee of the Federación Colombiana de Ciclismo. Sonia Duval Prodier Carlos Sarate, Coldo Gil, T-Mobile T-Mosca Sevilla, codename Sevilla number. Jan Ulrich, DNA tests confirmed that the 9 bags that were marked Jan number 1 or Hijo Rudecio all contained Jan Ulrich's blood. An alleged doping plan was published in the newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung, where Ulrich's suspected doping during the first week of the 2005 Tour de France was described. In 2013, Ulrich admitting to cooperate with Dr. Fuentes, saying it was a mistake. Tinkoff Credit Systems Tyler Hamilton. At the time of the initial investigation, Hamilton was suspended for a prior doping offense. Politiken, a Danish newspaper, published details of alleged doping diary of Hamilton during the 2003 season when he rode for Team CSC. It described intake of EPO, growth hormones, testosterone and insulin on 114 days during the 200-day season of 2003. According to allegations originally published in El País, Hamilton is to have paid over €43,000 to Fuentes, and that in 2003 Hamilton took erythropoietin, blood transfusions, growth hormone, a hormone taken by menopausal women, and anabolic steroids. Jurg Jachtscher. At the time of the initial investigation, Jachtscher rode for Astana Worth. On 30 June 2007, Jachtscher admitted to Der Spiegel that he used Fuentes' services. He said that he was Bella or number 20. Jachtscher had been under suspension by Tinkoff Credit Systems since May. Unibet Carlos Garcia Quesada, already retired, suspended Michel Bartoli. On 25 May 2007, La Gazzetta dello Sport reported that Bartoli was connected to Fuentes with the code name Sanson. Bartoli has not commented on this accusation. Angel Casero, Roberto Harris, Santiago Perez, Marco Pantani. Corriere della Sera reported that Pantani was connected to Fuentes with the codename PTNI in 2003. Mario Cipollini, codename Maria, according to the Gazzetta dello Sport. Other athletes. On 5 July 2006, Fuentes was indignant that only cyclists had been named and said he also worked with tennis and football players. On 27 July 2006, IAAF was assured by Spanish prosecutors that no track and field athletes were involved. On 23 September 2006, former cyclist Jesus Manzano told reporters from France 3 that he had seen well-known footballers from La Liga visit the offices of Dr. Fuentes. In May 2007, Sepp Blatter, president of FIFA at a World Anti-Doping Agency meeting in Montreal, was reportedly interested in the contents of the Puerto file. Le Monde had reported in December 2006 that they had possession of documents of Fuentes detailing seasonal preparation plans for Spanish football clubs FC Barcelona and Real Madrid. These plans did not specifically name any players. This news seemed to be only rumors, since the French journal lost its trials in 2009 and 2011 against the FC Barcelona because it could not produce any proof of its allegations. In the ultimate judgment, on 14 November 2011, it was condemned to pay €15,000 of indemnity for using false and unverified facts. No other athletes had been named.